we're in the shop today. Need to do some maintenance. I'll take you with me. So, if anybody knows anything about a 6.7 and the upgrades that are out there, I've done a few of them. I did this particular emissions upgrade about 60,000 miles ago. And I'm not pushing this product or anything, but I'm just doing the inspection of the block-off plates and a few other things that were done. As far as this plate here, a lot of people have problems, or they say they have problems breaking bolts off into the manifold there. And I didn't have any problems. I did it at 100,000 miles, and I did a couple of heat soaks on those bolts before I pulled them out. And I also used some silicone and soaked them down in between each heat soak. And they came right out. I was kind of nervous about it. I thought I was going to tear one of them up and break a bolt off in it and have to go through the process of getting that broken off bolt out, but it turned out fine. Like I said, it's been 60,000 miles, haven't had any issues. I did the disaster prevention kit, and I did a little bit of research online and followed through the process. This filter, I did this my last oil change, so we've got roughly 7,000 miles on that filter. So I'll do that at the next oil change. I'll change that filter. I've got a replacement on the fuel filter. This is on the return side of your fuel back to the tank. I mainly want to check and make sure there's not any leaks in that system there when I did the upgrade, which I don't know if you could see down in there or not, but I don't see anything wet. No diesel fuel down there. It is a process if you want to do this, but if you can turn a wrench and follow instructions, it's not that bad. I was nervous about it. I heard about the fuel pumps failing, CP4s, and from what I've read, there's an upgraded fuel pump for these things. I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. I hope to soon, but I will. I'll let you know whenever I do it. I did upgrade pipe kit on it, on both sides, hot and cold air side, because the plastic, I think if you remember, there's a plastic coupling in here that blows apart and cooks itself and breaks, and it left me stranded pulling a skid steer. So I was stranded till I could get a replacement pipe. I plan on upgrading all the intake system, but that's next year's project. Another thing I did was the crankcase box delete kit. I put that on there. Some people say it drips oil. I haven't had any oil dripping on the floor or anything underneath the truck. And I got an extension hose that runs all the way back. I've got it in the frame and it drops out right here. You do smell it a little bit, but I'm not dripping any oil or anything out. I did that when I did the disaster prevention kit. So that was done last oil change. Cold air intake, I did that back when I bought the truck, or soon after I bought the truck. But other than that, I haven't had any, knock on wood, issues with it besides a speed sensor on this driver's side front. And if I rotate the tires, I'll tell you what I found on that. I didn't have to replace it. So here we go. Got my dubbers. It's gonna be Wasn't too bad. Let it fall out. I bought this truck brand new, 2012. I think it was 95,000 miles. Failed heater in the tank, in the DEF tank. 50 miles, shut down, imminent shutdown, or limp mode, or whatever it comes up with on the code. But I was at home when it shut down on me, and it won't move. So if you get that code, believe it, it's going to shut you down. So at that point, I decided to go ahead and do the upgrade on it and take care of that future problem. Took everything off but the tank. The tank is still on the truck. I just haven't taken it off. And I was able to tune it from the OBD2 port. And like I said, I haven't had any problems out of it. I just run a standard street tune on it. I've got a tow mode on it. I use every once in a while when I'm pulling my skid steer. I did not flash the TCM, so transmission is stock tune on that. Oh man, what a mess. There you go. Didn't have the bucket under it far enough. Oh Lord, I love this. Soaky this from happening over here, but I doubt it. We'll try it. Let's try this wrench first. Some people poke a hole in the bottom of these things and let them drain, but does it really work? I'll let this drain a little bit. This truck weighs about 8,000, 9,000 pounds. And I made the mistake. If I'd have known better, I'd have got a different lift. This asymmetric lift is great for cars. But as you can see, this Ford, you pick up from your trailing arm there, and back here on the frame is where I usually pick this truck up, because it won't reach all the way, based off of this lift, it won't reach all the way back there. So my lift point's right here on the frame, and I'll have to use the adapters to level the truck as it comes up. But I've never taken this truck all the way up in the air with this lift. I should have got a symmetric standard lift. It's a 10,000 pound lift, but I don't like the way this asymmetric lift pulls it up off the ground. So better be safe than sorry. Most of my work on this truck is on the ground. Unless I rotate tires, I'll use the lift. Wow. O-ring stuck on there. Make sure these come off. Some people forget and don't pay attention, and they'll try to put a filter on. No matter if it's this truck or car or anything, they won't check, make sure that O-ring came off the seal. And they'll try to put a filter on top of it, and they wonder why they're blowing oil everywhere. If people don't know what an asymmetric lift is, these posts are kicked in, they're turned counterclockwise. The way the foot is, it's counterclockwise. So symmetric lift or standard, I'm not even sure I'm even giving you the right terminology, but they'll be turned faced, both posts will be facing each other instead of kicked, what is it, 30 degrees, something like that, 45 degrees. And like I said, this is great if you don't want to hit your doors and stuff like that. On the cars that I've had on here, no problems at all. But this truck, you got to pick it, like I said, up on the front control arm there or a trailing arm, whatever you want to call it. And then you got to reach all the way back here just to try to get it balanced. And of course, the front of this truck weighs a hell of a lot more than the back of it. And it's just a little shaky for me. So I'll put it up myself. According to instructions, make sure you have at least 4 to 5 inches of concrete slab to bolt that to. If you don't have a skid steer or something like that to help you lift that up, 2 guys can handle those posts easily, and a ladder. I bought this truck. I had it, I guess I had 30,000 miles on it, and I was on the way home, on the way to work, about 4:30 in the morning, and a big deer jumped out in front of me, airborne. Went airborne, come across, he was coming from the left side, come across the front of this truck, caved all this in. It was, I don't know, 6-8 point buck. He probably weighed 140, 150 pounds. This bumper folded in half, took everything out behind it, all the way back up to the engine block. $8,000 was the insurance cost on this, and they had to go back 3 times just to get to that point because they kept finding things that were busted. So everything in here is plastic pretty much. So if you hit something like that, you might as well plan on pulling your pocketbook out, because it's going to be a bunch of money. I guess you can see, filling this filter up. Oh, something else I had issues with was this vacuum pump on the front of the engine block. I had a massive, well, it wasn't massive oil leak, it was irritating. Only when I ran the truck, I'd get some drips underneath the front of this truck. The vacuum pump's used, I'm pretty sure it's just used for the lockouts, your hubs, for your, because they're vacuum controlled on your automatic locking hubs. What did I do with that socket? I hope I didn't put it up. But anyway, it was leaking pretty bad. And let's go ahead and wipe that down, put the filter on it. So I did some research and found out that I think they're 8mm bolts. There's like 6 of them. They bolt that vacuum pump on the front of your engine block, and they work loose over time, and that's what they did. Some people changed the go ahead and put a new gasket on there, and I didn't do it. Probably should have, since I already had it apart. Well, I really didn't have it apart. What I did was I took one bolt out at a time and put some wrenchable Loctite on it, and torqued them all the way back down. I can't tell you, can't quote you what the torque spec was. I think it might have been, I don't know, I'm not even going to quote. That's something you can find out too. But that was, shoot, that was probably at about 110,000 miles, I think, is when I did that. And haven't seen any leaks since then, so it's holding good. If it starts leaking again, which I hope it don't, just keep in mind, if you're leaking up front, it's a little chore to get to. But like I said, I didn't change the gasket on it. I just took one out at a time, put some wrenchable Loctite on it, and torqued them back down the spec, and I haven't had any problems since then if you're in a pinch. One full turn. Another thing I'll tell you, another problem I've run into. I had problems with this thing pulling hard to the right. And I thought it might have been a tie rod end or something, but it only did it whenever, I think when I came out of a turn, it wouldn't come out of a turn correctly. You know how if you get a good alignment, it'll straighten itself up pretty much. And I chased it. I thought it was an alignment issue. You know, all your normal stuff. You know, I started tearing that right front wheel apart. That U-joint on the front passenger side wheel, that U-joint there for your front axle was damn near locked up. No warning, nothing. It just started seizing up. So the way I found it was I got the truck off the ground and tried to turn the tire by hand, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't get it to turn after I dropped the tie rod, because I bought new tie rods for it. So I dropped that one on that side, so the only thing holding it was the steering knuckle, and you almost couldn't turn this wheel left or right by hand. So I pulled that front axle out, drive axle on this side, and that U-joint was seized up. Wasn't squealing, wasn't making any barking noises or anything like that. So, and those weren't greasable joints. Yes, they were. I can't lie to you. I just didn't grease it. That was my fault. That's what happens when you don't lube that U-joint there. All right, this thing takes about 13 quarts of oil. There's fuel filter right here, this housing. I bought a couple online. They say they're a Motorcraft product. Maybe they were faulty though, because they were blowing, they wouldn't seal on your fittings here. So be aware of that. That'd be all for that. I'd like to take a look at the belts. I don't see any cracks. If you could see where I'm pointing, there's where that pump is. Right there, that's where it was leaking. All right, we're gonna call that good. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and rotate these tires. Let's see where it hits. Okay. All right, let's see where these are. Are they locked in? Look at a little bit more there. All right, on the locks. I was talking to you about that speed switch, or speed pickup right here. Let me get that light. Earlier, about My ABS alarm coming on. And I think it also kicked you out of cruise control too. This wire here, I guess y'all can see it. This was so tight that every time you turn this wheel to lock to the passenger side, I get an alarm. So I loosened it up a little bit. It's a little snug there, but you know, it took care of my problem. I didn't have any more problems after that. So it may not be necessarily a sensor issue. It could be just where it's pulling so tight. That came from the factory that way. Nothing was ever done unless, well, when I hit the deer, they wouldn't have had to get in here, I don't think. But anyway, that's what I ran into as far as that speed switch goes. Make sure they're locked. Make sure they're unlocked. That other side didn't unlock. It tilted the truck sideways. A little bit more. Oh, damn. All right, it's on there. Another thing that came up was these dust pans. These rear brakes I gotta replace. Cause these got drums in here. When the clips that hold the drum brakes in go to the back of these pans, these dust pans, and they're rotted out. So one came loose. The clips inside that hold those brake shoes in place pulled through, and the brake shoes came loose and started rubbing that drum. So I haven't put them on yet, but I've made those work because I had to order some new ones. But it'll pay off rotating these tires. A lot of people don't do it. They ask me, how you get them tires last that long? You got to keep them rotated. These Discoverers, and that's what this is. These Discover ATs. I think this is the second set of Discoverers I've had on, and I'm pretty happy with them. They rotated good. I think I got 45 to 50,000 miles on my last set of Discoverers. I don't know what they're rated for, but if you can get 50,000 miles out of a set of, these are 35-inch tires, I think you're doing all right. All right. Let this down. See, all four of them are on. Find an extension. And 10, if I can see it. I got contacts in, I can't see nothing. They're not for reading for sure. Actually, I'll set it for 100. There's 110. There you go. One. All right, I got all those torque down. Take this, be sure to unload your torque wrenches when you get done. Looks like it goes this way. Let's see. These metric, I'll be damned. I guess about all I'm going to do now is check their pressure in the tires and that'll be it for this truck.